The sun hung low over the sleepy suburban sprawl of Willow Creek, casting golden streaks across neatly trimmed lawns and pastel-colored houses. It was the kind of place where people moved to escape the chaos of a city where the loudest noise was supposed to be the hum of a lawnmower or the chatter of a backyard barbecue. That's what Jack Harper and his wife, Lila, had signed up for when they'd bought their modest two-story home 6 months ago. Peace, quiet, a chance to breathe. But peace, as Jack was learning, came with a catch in Willow Creek. A homeowners association president named Marjorie Tate who wielded her authority like a scepter and treated the neighborhood like her personal fiefdom. Jack wasn't the type to pick fights. A wiry man in his late 30s with a mop of dark hair and a quiet demeanor. He spent his days training birds of prey hawks, falcons, and the occasional owl for wildlife control. It was a niche gig, one that had him working with corporate parks and airports to keep pigeon populations in check. He loved the work, the way it blended patience with precision, and he brought that same calm energy to his new home. Lila, an illustrator with a soft smile and a penchant for sketching in the sun, was his perfect counterbalance. She'd set up a lounge chair in their backyard, headphones on, sketchpad in hand, soaking up the rays while dreaming up her next project. It was their little slice of paradise until Marjorie's drones started buzzing overhead. It began subtly. One Saturday afternoon in early spring, Jack was tinkering with a bird perch in the garage when Lila slipped inside, her brow furrowed. "I think something's watching me," she said, tugging her earbuds out. Her voice carried a nervous edge Jack hadn't heard before. He chuckled, picturing a nosy squirrel perched on the fence. "You've been listening to too many of those crime podcasts," he teased, brushing sawdust off his hands. "Our fences are 8 feet high. Unless someone's got a ladder and a vendetta, you're fine." She forced a smile, but didn't argue, and Jack let it go. That was his first mistake. 2 days later, he heard Eda faint, mechanical whine cutting through the morning stillness. He stepped into the kitchen, coffee mug in hand, and glanced out the window just in time to see it. A sleek black drone hovering above their backyard, its camera lens glinting like a predator's eye. It lingered for a moment, then darted off toward the row of houses behind them. Jack's stomach twisted. He bolted outside, scanning the sky, but the thing was gone. Lila joined him, wrapping a cardigan around herself. "Was that a drone?" she asked, her voice small. Jack nodded, his jaw tight. "Yeah, and it wasn't delivering pizza." They decided to wait out, hoping it was a fluke, maybe a kid with a new toy or a one-off prank. But the drone returned the next day, and the day after that, always when Lila was outside. It would swoop in, hover just long enough to make her skin crawl, then vanish. Jack tried VYing it off once, even tossed a broom into the air, but the thing was agile, dodging like it had a mind of its own. Lila stopped going outside altogether, her sketchpad gathering dust on the kitchen counter. "I feel like a prisoner in my own house," she admitted one night, her voice trembling. That was when Jack stopped hoping and started planning. He set up a makeshift surveillance system, motion cameras. A high-angle lens borrowed from a friend and caught the drone retreating toward a brick colonial 2 streets over. The house belonged to Marjorie Tate, the HOA president who'd greeted them on move-in day with a laminated rulebook and a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Marjorie was a force of nature 50-something, with a platinum bob and a clipboard always in hand. She'd once fined a neighbor for planting tulips 2 inches too close to the sidewalk and sent Jack a citation for excessive toolbox noise after he'd hammer a nail at 7 p.m. on a Tuesday. If anyone in Willow Creek had the audacity and the budgetto spy on his wife, it was her. Jack marched over to her house, footage loaded on his phone, determined to keep things civil. Marjorie answered the door in a crisp blazer, peering at him over her glasses like he was a delivery boy who'd gotten the address wrong. "Marjorie," he said, holding up the screen, "this drone keeps buzzing my yard. It's freaking Lila out. I traced it back here. Is it yours?" She didn't flinch. "It's HOA property," she replied coolly. "We're authorized to monitor for rule violations. It's within my rights." Jack blinked. "You're not the CIA. My wife's sunbathing on our land." Marjorie's lips thinned. Perhaps she shouldn't be displaying herself where the community can see. Jack's temper flared. You mean where your drone can see? She smirked. Some of us have standards. That was her mistake, and the moment Jack decided CI VY Lighty was overrated. He reported the drone to the local police, but they shrugged it off. Airspace is tricky, the officer said, scratching his neck. And the HOA's got some vague inspection clause. Hard to pin down. Jack wasn't surprised Marjorie had probably written the damn clause herself. Then the citations started rolling in. One for unapproved bird feeders, he didn't own any. Another for lawn debris, a single leaf, and a third for VY soil obstruction from a potted plant Lila had set on the patio. Each came with grainy drone photos as proof. That's when Jack realized this wasn't just about control, it was personal. And if Marjorie wanted a war, he'd give her one she'd never forget. Jack's ace in the hole was his job. He didn't just train birds, she weaponized nature. His star pupil was Nyx, a red-tailed hawk with a 4-foot wingspan and an attitude to match. She'd taken down crows mid-flight and once shredded a kite that got too close to her territory. Then there was Zephyr, a peregrine falcon so fast he could outpace a car, and Luna, a great horned owl who moved like a shadow and struck without a sound. Jack spent a week conditioning them to see drones as prey, using mock targets laced with treats. Nyx caught on first, her talons ripping through plastic like it was paper. Zephyr followed, turning the drills into a game of speed. Luna took longer. She preferred napping to training, but once motivated, she was unstoppable. The plan came together on a crisp Saturday morning. Lila agreed to play bait, lounging in the backyard with a sun hat and a glass of iced tea, her sketch pad propped open for effect. Jack waited by the garage, Nyx perched on his gloved arm, her eyes locked on the sky. Right on cue, the drone appeared, a sleek, upgraded model with a red light blinking on its underbelly. Jack gave the signal. Nyx launched like a rocket, wings cutting the air with a whoosh. The drone tried to climb, its operator clearly panicking, but Nyx was faster. She slammed into it, talons first, and the machine spiraled down in a smoking heap, landing in the grass with a satisfying crunch. Jack retrieved the wreckage, marched to Marjorie's porch, and dropped it in her mailbox with a note. Keep your toys out of my yard. He thought that would be the end of it. He was wrong. The next morning, 3 drones buzzed over his house in formation, like a miniature Air Force on a mission. Jack stood in the backyard, hands on his hips, watching them circle. She's got a budget, he muttered, almost impressed. Lila peeked out from the kitchen window, her face pale. Jack, this is insane. He nodded. Yeah, time to escalate. He called in reinforcements. Zephyr joined the fray that afternoon, taking out one drone with a mid-air strike, so precise it looked choreographed. Nyx handled the second, shredding its rotors and sending it crashing into a neighbor's rosebush. The third got away barely, but Jack wasn't worried. That night, he unleashed Luna. The owl glided silently from her perch, snagging the stealth drone Marjorie had sent under cover of darkness. It's night. VY sound camera was still rolling when it hit the ground, and Jack popped the SD card into his laptop. What he found wasn't just footage of his yard, it was a montage of the neighborhood. Bedroom windows, kids playing in pools, even a couple arguing in their kitchen. Marjorie wasn't just spying on Lila. She was watching everyone. Jack called his friend Sam, a deputy sheriff who owed him a favor after Nyx cleared a bat infestation from his garage. Sam EU'd the footage and whistled. This isn't gray area anymore, man. This is straight up illegal. I'll take it to the chief. Jack grinned. Good. Let's see her talk her way out of this. The fallout was swift. The HOA board called an emergency meeting, and half the neighborhood showed up, armed with their own drone stories. Marjorie arrived in a tailored suit, dragging a briefcase stuffed with papers and a laptop she claimed held proof of her innocence. She launched into a tirade about community safety, projecting slides of aerial monitoring zones like she was briefing the Pentagon. But when Jack played the recovered footage complete with timestamps and Marjorie's voice barking orders over a radio, the room turned on her. The vote to suspend her was unanimous, and she stormed out, vowing revenge. 3 days later, a letter arrived from a lawyer. Marjorie was suing Jack for property damage, emotional distress, and his personal favorite deployment of an unauthorized VY defense network. Lila stared at the paper, wide-eyed. Can she win this? Jack laughed. She can try. He called his friend Tara, a lawyer who'd once gotten a client off for turning his yard into a llama sanctuary. Tara watched the drone footage, cackled, and said, "This is the most fun I've had in years. Let her take it to Quartile, bury her." The trial was a circus. Marjorie strutted in with a binder and a smug grin, her lawyer spinning a tale of Jack's malicious bird attacks. Tara countered with FAA violations, privacy laws, and a highlight reel of Nyx, Zephyr, and Luna dismantling drones like feathered superheroes. The judge, a grizzled man named Hargrove, looked like he'd rather be fishing but ruled decisively. The defendant's actions, while unconventional, were lawful. The plaintiff's drones, however, were not. Case dismissed. The courtroom erupted, and Marjorie fled without a word. The story didn't end there. The news picked it up. Birdman of Willow Creek thwarts HOA tyrant, and a neighborhood rallied. Kids drew hawk murals on sidewalks. A local bar brewed Talon IPA, and Jack started hosting Raptor demos in the park. Lila went back to sunbathing, her sketch pad filled with bird-inspired art. But Jack kept one eye on the sky. Marjorie was gone for now, but people like her didn't vanish. They schemed. They waited. One evening, as spring faded into summer, a new drone appeared, clumsy, amateurish, not Marjorie style. Jack whistled for Nyx, and the bird dispatched it in seconds. A sheepish teen showed up later, holding the wreckage. "I was just curious," he mumbled. Jack smirked. "Next time, knock." The kid bolted, and Jack turned to Lila, who was watching from the porch. "Think it's really over?" she asked. He shrugged, glancing at Nyx perched nearby. "Maybe, but if it's not, we've got air support." She laughed, and for the first time in months, the sound felt like VY Tory. If you were the one in this story, how would you react? Would you stand up and fight back, or accept the unreasonable pressure and control from the HOA? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this VY Deo with more people. Your small action gives us the motivation to keep bringing you more intense and engaging stories. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next VY Deo.